Today is another brew day, brew number 12. And we're going to try something completely new. So today is all about a seltzer. Now, a seltzer is basically water, sugar and yeast. So how hard can it really be? Well, there are a few nuances just to take us a little bit beyond that. So one of the problems is it's water, sugar and yeast, in so much as there are not enough nutrients in water to really sort of give the yeast a good opportunity to thrive. So there are a few ways to get around that, and there are various different nutrients available. Now today I'm going to also try a new yeast, so this is a double whammy. We're going to try today a Kveik Lutra yeast, which apparently is like turbo yeast. It really is yeast on steroids. This thing can rip through a fermentation in a fraction of the time. So the turbo seltzer we're doing today is allegedly a 4-day turbo seltzer. It's that fast. However, by itself, where it can go wrong is the pH can drop outside of the yeast tolerances and the fermentation stops, and there isn't enough nutrient to keep the yeast going. Nutrients in the UK proved to be a little bit more tricky to spot because there seems to be a lot more variety sort of internationally. However, there was a perfect answer to this too, in so much as there is a seltzer nutrient pack. Now effectively I've got enough nutrient in here for about 5 batches of 1 gallon seltzer, which I'm going to put it away and definitely use it for that, because we're going to sort of scale down to 1 gallon as usual. So that's the way we get around the nutrient. I've also, water chemistry becomes a bit more of an issue in seltzer. And this again is something that I've not really got into yet in brewing, and so this is a nice little dipping my toe into the whole world of water chemistry. And to aid me on that journey, I've also got a new toy, which is a pH monitor, so we can sort of keep a track of the pH. The most expensive item in this whole setup for seltzer is distilled water. I need 5 litres of distilled water for this. I can't just start with tap water, and that actually is the most expensive bit. It's 10 quid for 5 litres. So I'm going to sort of scout around and see what I can find, but for now 10 quid is how much I've invested, plus the nutrients and the yeast. The other thing is flavouring. So once we've ripped through the 4-day seltzer, one of the things that we can then do is start to think about flavouring, and I'm going to do my usual trick of splitting into 3 batches, and I've got 3 flavours in mind. I'm going to try a few different things. So I'm going to try Soda Stream Water, orange and mango flavour. So that's number 1. I've used this before, which is the good old strawberry flavour, and these are sort of 0 calories, non-fermentable, so all good. And on a very similar vein, a little brother to this one though, I didn't realise that when I bought it, is a cherry flavour version as well. So that's my plan, so I also don't change my mind in the next 4 days. That is my plan. So let's get stuff sorted out, and then I'll come back with the recipe. Start with 5 litres of distilled water. Measuring this is simple. I suppose an opportunity to test out my new toy, see where this goes. I'm supposed to just dip it a little way. 6.47. It does say hold to the fill line, but there's no fill line on here as far as I can tell. 510 grams of sugar, brewer's sugar, 7 grams of our super yeast nutrient. The packet's 28 grams, so I've got a few more goes at this if I want to do 1 gallon. There will be 3 grams of the Kveik yeast. I'll measure that later. Again, that's an 11 gram packet, so I've got a few goes with the Kveik yeast to use too. Step 1. Bring 5 litres of distilled water up to around 82 degrees. At that point, we'll be able to start adding sugar. Monitor the temperature. Have a cup of coffee. This is the boring bit. Step 2. Add the sugar. Before it boils, in order to not scorch the sugar and actually create a sort of cloudy mixture, You want to try and create a sugar wash that's clear. That's all dissolved, so we want to start to bring back up to the boil. Step 3 is to boil for 10 minutes. This is to ensure all the ingredients are sterilised. Now, step 4 is a little tricky because step 4 is to take a hydrometer reading to make sure that we've got the specific gravity of 1040 that we're looking for. Now, of course, I can't take a hydrometer reading at 100 degrees centigrade. So, while that's boiling, I'm going to cool that. 10 minutes, this has boiled. This, however, despite 10 minutes of trying to cool it and twice splashing tap water into it, so I'm not going to put that back in, it's still 41 degrees. Right, got it down to the temperature. Since sanitisation became less of an issue, I just transferred to this jug even though I haven't sanitised it yet. I'm not going to put this back in, I've already contaminated the sample. So, but it will still be okay, mostly, for our hydrometer reading. Why does it always end the wrong way around? Is it like designed that way? Well, I'm way off. That's good. 1030. Great. According to the sugar ready reckoner, to bring this up by effectively 10 gravity points, and I've now got 4.9 litres, given that I lost 100 ml to my failed sample. 134 is apparently the number I need. I suppose I should just check the temperature of this. I've kept it covered, so hopefully it won't be contaminated, but I think the risk of that is pretty low anyway. I'm not extremely worried. I used to think this was quite a quick thermometer. Hey, lucky us, we're back to 81.6 degrees, exactly where we were in step 2. Hey, 134 grams of extra sugar, here we come. Guess what? Oh, fucking hell. Guess what has to happen now? All my gear's been sanitised for round 2. This time I've also sanitised the jug, so make cooling a bit easier, hopefully. I feel that I no longer care what the gravity is, and I'm going to carry on whatever. This is like a giant game of Monopoly where I keep getting stepping back to go. What do I do with my hydro? Oh, there it is. Oh, I think there's enough there. Okay, how are we doing this time? Step number 5. Add the nutrient and mix for 10 minutes. That was nice then. See you in 10 minutes. pH reading 7.66. Step number 6. Cool to 29 degrees C and transfer to the fermenter. Okay. I have a ready prepared cool bath. This old favourite, but I'll whirlpool that, i.e. mix, and see if we can speed it along a bit. At least a target of 29 degrees isn't so bad. It's been worse. We're 29 degrees. Step number 7, aerate by shaking. This is like my monthly workout. You just sit down after that. Okay, step number 8, dry funnel, been here before. Pitch the Kveik Lutra at 29 degrees. Step number 9, add finings. What finings? There was none of those in the recipe. We'll come back to that one. Moving on. Step number 10, install the airlock. Oh gosh, that was exhausting. And a lot more effort than I expected. Took a lot more time than I expected. However, it was the first time, and I do think that were I to do it all again, which I will, it would all go a little bit more quickly and a little bit more smoothly. The two recipe problems, one being the gravity, I'm going to have a bit of a think about, and we'll come back next time to talk about that. But meanwhile, this is just going to go away for a very few days. I mean, this is supposed to be from yeast to fermented and ready, but not flavoured, within 4 days. So I will see you every day for the next 4 days.